wanted to make something that the audience could enjoy on a totally, like, visual, visceral level, where you're just kind of having fun and going along with these characters, watching Batman kick a little bit of ass. I mean, why else do you make a fan film besides to have a whole lot of fun?
I have said all along I wanted On Edge Productions to make movies in Boston and bring movies here and be able to bring big productions here.
When you call it an independent film, it didn't have an independent film vibe at all. I felt like I was on a major, blockbuster production cast.
Every time you went on set.
Yeah.
What really kept the fire burning within the cast and crew is that Ramsey would shoot these and then he would put these dailies up literally as soon as we got off the set. You
just
look,
fed the fire.
You'd see dailies after every set and it would be like, wow, this looks amazing.
And he's so talented. It looked like he had worked on it for months.
Yeah.
That's how good it came out.
Like it was almost final production worthy.
Yeah.
And when do you ever get to see that where like you just film it, like boom, there's something to go with, the feed off of, and you just.
I remember.
It just makes you bring your A game, like you have to.
You can clearly see his vision.
I remember the first one he put up got like 2,000 hits, and that's because everybody kept replaying it.
This is, at its core, a film about Batman. It's about
Batman lived.
It's about how the people of Gotham perceive Batman. It's about how Batman's enemies perceive Batman. And most importantly, it's about Batman's own personal support system.
You forgot who Batman is? You're a detective, first and foremost.
But a big part of my job directing was making sure Tom's Batman was the best Batman that we could do and do justice to the fans. So while they're watching, there's no second thought, so that they just think, okay, this is Batman, what's the next piece of information? And Tom had this amazing ability to come on set and know his lines and be completely professional.
That's what we're going to do.
It took us the entirety of production to figure out what the Batman voice was going to be. Tom had a few different options, I had a few different ideas I was floating around. We wanted to do a digital distortion of Batman's voice. We thought that could be interesting, but we ended up going with just some kind of hybrid between the Christian Bale Batman grumble and the Michael Keaton Batman whisper.
If it's a trap for them.
Oh, Mariano, I stop him like this.
You know what was great though? A lot of the people who came to the auditions, we knew as soon as they auditioned if they were perfect or not. Like, okay, that's it. He has the role. Susan Walakis was a perfect example.
Yeah. She came in and she said she wanted to read for the filmmaker, and we all looked at her like, kind of had that for a guy, but okay. She read, we were like,
well, hey,
done.
wait a minute.
That aside, she got that.
Like a big screwed up game of telephone.
With Crow and Batman, I mean, I refer to him an awful lot, and yet not being in scenes with him. So this idea of these forces working against each other for the most part of the movie, but not actually on screen and not meeting until almost the very end, was interesting because it's this struggle that we don't see but is very much a part of the film, and that element was a clever device written by Ramsey, no doubt.
He's a symbol of what a person can do in this world if they care just enough. If they just tried. I may not completely agree with him, but I'd be heartless if I didn't respect him.
Steve O'Born came in to play Mr. Fun, and he read for Mr. Fun, and I went, and I said, hold on, here, read for Crow. He read it, and I remember Ramsey and Lisa, we all looked at each other and go, he's got it. Yeah, and then Steve came in and read
you
for
get that feeling right away.
Mr. Fun, and right
Mr.
away.
Fun.
Yeah.
Right, and that's the thing, I think, being on the other end of the table when you do auditions, you know. You get that feeling, you go, yep, they just nailed it.
Why are you here then?
That first scene when you started to speak, I was like, damn, he's perfect Mr. Fun.
Take the night off!
I felt it had personality. You know, I was reading, I said, hey, this Mr. Fun is... I can have fun with him. Well, I went online and I looked up Mr. Fun because I had no clue to who Mr. Fun was. I actually don't read comic books, so I didn't know all the characters. And I found out that Mr. Fun was only in 2 editions of the comic, and he was really the most obscure character in the whole DC universe. But I looked, found out all I could about him, and hopefully I did him justice.
Oh, you nailed him.
Nailed it. Nailed it.
It was just a blast, and especially working off Tommy that first day, it just clicked.
Yeah, it was kind of weird because it was the closest situation I'd been with anybody, even the guys, the thugs, and it was just Steve and I. And I'm telling you, we got lost in our characters. I didn't see Ramsey. I didn't see the boom guy, the anybody. It was just me and Steve. And I kept apologizing for grabbing the hair off his chest because I had to grab him and then pull him forward.
It was great. It was great.
I'm going, Tommy, that's great. I love it.
And I kept saying to Steve, I'm sorry. He's like, no, go with it, Tom. It's fine.
The tears are real.
Yeah, the tears, right, it's real. And then, you know, I remember Ramsey going, listen, Tom, next time. And I know Steve was getting his makeup. Nicky had come in to retouch up his bruise. And he goes, Tom, I want you to pick Steve up and throw him. I said, what do you throw him? He goes, throw him. I said, okay, all right. I picked up Steve and threw him. That table broke. Ramsey fell back. Another guy fell back. Steve comes up with a bloody nose, and I like apologizing. And Ramsey goes, I got it.
Yeah.
Of course he had
Of course he got it.
I absolutely loved it. I auditioned for The Flash at first, and then. Why is that funny?
That was hilarious. She's like.
Coffee almost came out my nose.
Yeah, you all right?
No, I'm good.
Okay?
I'm good.
No, she was laughing because her throat was hurt.
Black Mask back
I just think that's adorable.
Are you done? Can I?
I'm good. You go.
No, so I auditioned for The Flash because I knew that character. I didn't know Hush. And I got the call if I wanted to be it, and I took it, and then went further and see what it was, and I'm like, this is even better. It's like a dark, well, I felt, for me, just a dark, deeper role, and what else is?
I can't, honestly, the reason I giggle a little bit is I honestly can't
giggle.
imagine you, what?
You can giggle, it's fine.
Well, I'll giggle
She did.
some more if you want.
You already did, so, you know, just,
You can't take your
I
giggle
just can't
back.
imagine you being anything other than Hush.
I'm allowed to leave, though, right?
When Ryan came in,
Walk slowly.
Speed is relative.
we knew.
Do you have any food?
He lost weight for a while, too.
Yeah, he actually went on a weight training thing, and
before he would perform, he'd be doing push-ups, he'd be amping himself out.
Ryan Salvato as the Flash was just phenomenal. I'm so inspired by the work he does. I'm so impressed with what he was able to do. And when I was on set, I thought, yeah, he's doing a great job. He's really doing well. But then when I'd go home and I'd be cutting, I would take a closer look at his shots, and I would notice these little nuances, these little facial movements he would do, all these details to his performance that just bring it to the next level and just make him seem like he didn't even know he was being filmed. He just was real. He was that character. And his portrayal of the Flash is something that really makes the movie that much more enjoyable than it would have been without him.
Read it.
I got the call, and I didn't really know how to react because I just didn't. I honestly didn't have enough information on the Black Mask. I wasn't very familiar with it, and I did my research. I accepted the role and absolutely loved it. I thought it felt, you know, very natural for me to play that kind of like sinister, wanting to kill the Batman, and you know, I already have some sort of feelings towards Tom, so it just fit perfectly.
Corey, can you give us a little Black Mask laugh there? Can you do that on cue here? That was hilarious.
I never stopped getting creepy ever.
No, but it was just, it's really fun to, and of course, play an intricate part. And then initially I started off as a thug, and then being able to play the Black Mask,
main thug.
Yeah.
It's kind of like the football player who gets called up.
Yeah. Exactly. Exactly.
At first we were kind of jaded, like your thug buddies were like, okay, all right.
Now you work for him. Now you work
Now he's paying our salary, so I'm gonna be like,
Well, you realize you got the part because you fit the suit.
Yeah. But no, it was great. It was a lot of fun. So thank you guys for that. Appreciate the opportunity.
More than welcome. You earned
so
it.
great.
And it couldn't have worked out better. It's just funny to see Corey as a thug, and the other black mask walks down the stairs, and there's Corey.
I love that part.
Right. It's like hilarious. Right, and then Corey's Corey.
Right.
Corey's in the alley scene getting beat up by Batman, but yet next scene he's Black Mask. So it's just, it worked out great.
He has two phones now.
Yeah.
Does he do places at once?
Yeah.
One's black man.
The jokes that we had with the thugs were insane. We were talking about like taking the thugs on like Broadway and doing like a spin-off. Like,
We really should, like Mafia the musical. I mean,
we really turned it into our own like reality show.
just like that.
Keep going. On a cloudy day. Our relationship.
Romantic.
There was a lot of bromance. There was a lot of bromance going on. It's almost like we knew each other for years and years and years. We were joking around, laughing, just like talking about the stupidest stuff in the world, singing, doing little skits.
Spiders, yeah, but bats, no way.
Shiva is a deadly swordswoman and assassin for hire. The Black Mask hired Shiva so she would track down and capture Batman. I don't think she was meant to kill Batman only because the Black Mask wanted to save this pleasure for himself. I researched her background a little bit, but I didn't want to know too much about her because I just wanted to make her my own. I developed the backstory in my head that she and Batman had a history together, and they're not necessarily have been always fighting on the opposite sides of the battle, that sometimes were allies.
Bat got away.
Olga was the perfect Shiva. I don't know where she came from, but the second she walked in the room, I got this sense from her that, and once I heard her accent and her beautiful voice and saw the way she moves and the fact that she's a dancer, it just all made sense that she should be the one doing the sword fighting and be that character. And Shiva actually had a bigger part, and she was supposed to be involved in the beginning of the film, but it just kind of seemed like a bit much to throw at the audience from the beginning of the film. Not to mention, on top of it, Olga was doing us this humongous favor coming from New York to Boston to shoot every time for hours at a time, where I think one time she came on set for like 12 hours and we only did one shot with her, and I felt like an asshole, and it was the worst thing we could do to her, but she was such a trooper and she dealt with it so well, and she was a professional through and through that I was so impressed by it. And if we do a sequel, we definitely want to get her in there again.
We have to run through the safety, okay? So listen. You've had a couple of PAs have accidents that were really unnecessary, and it's very, very sad that it happened and their lives were taken. We needed to go through safety for every scene. I don't care if we were outside taking 3 steps on a sidewalk. You could trip, there could be glass there. Everybody had to be aware of their surroundings.
Well, the guns look real enough. I mean, I think that if any cop pulled up and didn't know we were shooting a movie, they would have thought we were robbing something. And it had to be done, because Lisa came to me. She's like, we got to do this now that we've had too many incidences. We had to do this.
The props of the film were actually extremely important, and a lot of you would be surprised to find out we didn't have any like specific prop master. It was basically just Tom, and in a couple of small cases myself.
Finding props it started out easy, but then it became a chore, like to find the bat bombs. I got those from Singapore.
I called Tom up one night. I said, okay, I have a list of the props. He's like, okay, whenever you're ready, name them. And I went 2-3 pages of just all the duffel bags, bombs, this. He's like, yep.
Money. Cops and the thugs and the guns, and trying to find the best bargain that I could get the guns at the best price. And that's where the money, the money went to the props, to the costumes. I mean, that's where, the food was costly, but finding the props and the right ones was, Lisa and Ramsey left that all up to me. Lisa just said, make sure they're on set. Okay, they'll be there. We were lucky enough to hook up with the right people for like the prop money. It was the same people that they used in Batman Begins and The Dark Knight. The big pile of money that they burned with the Joker was the same company that we used to get the money for the set. And He used the same designer who designed the Dark Knight suit, was the same guy that we used for the Bat suit.
Hard day of work.
The two of them. We were lucky enough that they gave us the second one for free.
Ranger said get off set.
If you're not believing the fight scenes, if you're not engaged with them, then a huge conduit of the film's energy is being shut down, and you're not getting the full Batman experience. You need to see him punch somebody. You need to see him do a lot of stuff. And for the action scenes in this film, I wanted to take it a step further. I wanted Batman, full bat suit, fighting with a samurai sword. And not because it's his sword, obviously. He takes it from someone who has two swords and they fight for a while. And I thought that would be really interesting because in Batman's training, as we've seen in films like Batman Begins and animated series, stuff like that, you see that he trained with a sword. He trained with samurai. He basically trained to be a ninja, karate master kind of guy. So to have him fight with a sword for a little while, just to show that it's part of his set of skills, I thought would be interesting. But as far as our fight coordinator, Ian McLinden, went, he was absolutely fantastic, completely professional. There were a lot of points where I would just tell him, look man, you know what you're doing more, you know what you're doing with fight choreography more than I know what I'm doing with shooting the scene at this point. So I want you to choreograph the fight and tell me where you want the camera to be. We were able to break up the fight into these small little segments that I could shoot from this angle, shoot it again from that angle, move on to the next piece, and make sure I had everything that I needed. Of the three major fight sequences in the film, I think the first one in the parking garage with Mr. Fun and the other guys, I think that one was perfect. That's the one that came out really, 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 really close to how I wanted it to come out. And the bakery fight scene would be next, would be the runner-up. That one came out very, very well. A couple things I would change going back now, definitely. But looking back on it, it's definitely a fantastic fight scene. The way the swords worked out, the guns, it's a multi-sequence fight scene. The music came out beautiful.
I don't care what set you go to from here on. It's what we brought to our set to make it as professional as we could and whatnot, whether you go to this movie, this independent film. I don't know how many people were able to get stunt coordinators who have worked on some big films in the industry in Boston, big name, like The Town and this, to bring to ours. Every fight scene looks real. It doesn't look like it was faked in any way.
Even ours.
Yeah, even ours, yeah.
And they worked you guys. It wasn't like they went uneasy on you. I mean, they made you do
I thought we got...
Even the scene in the bakery, he had been in the suit for so many hours that Ian was actually saying he can't take much more in the suit.
Yeah, Ian told Ramsey had wanted. Ramsey
he knew
wanted
exactly
the
time
he
limit.
did. Ramsey had this shot. He wanted to get this above shot of me, Olga and I, and I remember this because I had nothing left in the tank, and I was so hot in the suit that normally I would have to go to the bathroom. I had sweated out everything that my assistant at the time brought me. I drank at least 2 gallons of water, and it was just. And we were doing a fight scene, Ogre, and I just collapsed, and I have nothing left. And Ramsey goes, okay, let's do it again. And Ian's like, he's got nothing left. You need to give him 10 minutes. You got to get him out of here. He can't. And I remember, and it's not like the new suit that we have where I could unzip it for 10 seconds. It was different. And Ian was always there to protect any of us.
Yeah.
You know, everybody thinks the bakery is huge. To be honest with you, anybody who's watching this beneath the cape, the bakery is really not that big. The fight scene we had was no bigger than this table, really. And it looks so huge on screen.
One of my favorites, man.
Yeah.
That was a great scene.
Yeah, one of your favorites because you get to be the Batman. Yeah, one of your favorites.
And I
Yeah.
got to eat some good free food from the bakery.
Yeah, right.
That's really why it was my favorite.
Yeah.
It always smelled like pizza.
But even Ian had his whole crew there. They were absolutely top-notch guys, and I would absolutely invite them back again for Caped Crusader too.
When we knew that we had to have fight choreography done that day, so we show up to the school and we're like, okay, what are we gonna learn? Like a couple like punches, like haymakers. And then Ian lines us all up and he's like, okay, who has like a good uppercut? Who has kicks? And we had this, we were there for 2.5 hours before even going to set.
Really learned how smart he was because in a short amount of time that we had in order to get over to the bakery and shoot the scene, and how he, picked everyone up and said, okay, well, group 1, group 2, group 3, based upon your level, here's what you need to do, and then here's what you need to do in order for it to be safe, and how we're going to be effective when we're going on to shoot it.
That whole learning all that stuff really helped out because when we're in the club, we had that extensive scene where Flash is
Oh my God, that was
and we
amazing.
have to go in kind of a circle and coordinate it with the person next to you. Go, 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 go. And we nailed it in one take.
One take.
That's
I
phenomenal.
mean, you guys worked on that for a couple
That's
hours.
one of my favorite scenes. That's just phenomenal.
Yeah.
And then today, Ramsey's like, by the way, I put up a rough cut just for you and Lisa to take a look. He goes, and look
yes.
he goes, look at 33 minutes in. I go, okay. And there's the bakery scene, and here you see Flash go, whap, 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 and hit everybody, and then he's out. And I was like, wow.
Yeah.
And that was all green screen. So to go from a green screen to put him into the frame, and he beats up Vinny. I was just like, that's just amazing. Yeah, he beats up little Vinny.
It's not really hard,
He gets back up, but he takes a beating.
Yeah, and again, we were lucky enough that nobody really got hurt. I think, we were very lucky that we didn't have any injuries or mishaps on set. I mean, there were some bruises, but that comes with it. We can't help that people had to be slapped. I mean, some things happen. My favorite fight scene is when I have really only two, and I know there's a lot of them. When I actually bloodied Steve in real life. That was pretty cool. We broke a table at the
I was getting you back for him. That's
right.
all.
Yeah, that's all right. And I gotta tell you, fighting with Olga and that whole sword thing was probably my favorite fight scene. I mean, it was great to take on the thugs and stuff, but it was just a special thing between her and I, and it was just a lot of, I think, love and passion to get it just right when we were trying to do it and give what Ramsey, what Ian wanted, who choreographed the whole thing, what Ramsey wanted. I think I think it just came out great. I just really love that scene.
Yeah, it came out great.
I get the
He
head
cleared the
nod.
room that day. He's like, I need everybody out. To get this. Everyone get
Yeah,
out.
and you know what?
We need
And
everyone out.
it was great on set. I mean, there wasn't a lot of times that there was a lot of, I got to clear it out. Everybody shut up. And there was times that we had to. I think,
You're in the moment. You got to get it. He knows exactly when and where and.
Yeah,
Ramsey knows exactly
he knows what he wants.
And you go, what an eye. An incredible, incredible eye he has.
Yeah, I mean, just this past weekend.
Unreal.
He knows what he wants. We would finish, and I'd be like, I'm done, I'm going to bed. He'd be up editing that night. And if we were filming a Saturday and Sunday, he'd edit. He'd sleep 2 hours, I'd get up, we'd go again.
Yeah.
Ramsey's a genius.
I will say that this is one of the hardest working cast and crew, team, director, producers, ever.
As I said, they put together a really, really good cast and crew. Everyone, and especially just from an industry standard, a lot of the projects that I've worked on that are a lot of big projects, a lot of people on this cast and crew have worked on. Yeah. So it's like you come on set and you see, these individuals, and you're like, okay, wow, this is really some good stuff here because we got some good people on set. You know what I mean? Hard workers. Right. No, diva attitudes. Everyone was just so friendly with each other. It was a camaraderie. It was like a family almost.
Every person from, the wardrobe people, the makeup artists, Bryce, Ben, all the PA people, everybody, Regina, everybody included. You couldn't find a tougher crew. When we asked something and we thought it was impossible to get done, they got it done. Somehow I'd get on set and it was done. And having John Murphy next to Lisa, they just got stuff done. And you couldn't ask for a better crew. I'd go to war with these guys 10 times over. They were just amazing, every single one of them. And we all had our tough days. We all didn't always agree on everything that we wanted to agree on. Just everybody, just Ben, Bryce, Regina, and it just goes down the list. And you can't mention all the names. Jarogi with the special makeup, Sue, and Karen, Nikki, and all these people that were on set day in and day out to make this movie what it was. It's just, you couldn't ask for a better crew. You just really couldn't.